welcome back to another episode of Pages for All Ages. I'm Leah Godwin from Fitzgerald Elementary.
And I'm Nisa Campos from Pope Elementary. And I'm very excited that we're going to be reviewing books again today.
Yeah.
I have so many books. So I have this bag of books. Let me just take them all out. Look all the books I have, y'all. These are all books that we're just all backed up on. We're just all backed up on because, we didn't review books last month, right? We had the incomparable Donald Miller. So I've got that batch of books that we're reviewing today. Oh, yeah. R.J. Palacio, her new book. Did you seen all these? Let's just talk about books, you guys. This is like...
Nita,
Hey, we can't do that.
we've got a time limit, and this is a lot of books. Spence?
Yeah, no.
What do you mean, no?
Pare it down.
Nobody tells me no.
Well, we're going to have to today, honey, because we don't have time for all of these. Can you pick the ones that you love the most?
I love them all the most. I'm a little sad.
Well, I'm going to have her choose some of her favorites, and we'll be right back.
Don't touch my books. All right, I have narrowed my list of books down because I have two friends who weren't being very friendly today. That's okay. My first book is The House of Salt and Sorrow by Erin A. Craig. First, let's just look at how beautiful that cover is. I'm reviewing it, Leah.
I know you are, but I read it too, and we read it at the same time, so I'm kind of excited that we both read it. I can't wait to see.
I just want you to know that
have to say.
I'm reviewing
Yes,
this
you
one.
can review it. Go ahead,
I
honey.
love you, but you
I
can
know.
interject.
Well, I thought I'd hold my book up too because I'm very proud.
Isn't it just like a gorgeous cover? Isn't it like
beautiful?
Ooh, gorgeous.
Beautiful.
So, I just love this book. In this book, Anna Lee lives with her sisters in Highmore with their father, the Duke, and their new stepmother. They are the people of the salt. They have been in mourning for years since their mother passed away, and then 4 older sisters, all one by one right after the other. Rumors are abound that the family is cursed. Because they have been in almost constant mourning, Anna Lee and her remaining sisters long for some relief from all the sorrow. They want to dance at balls and wear bright gowns and enjoy life again. They find a secret passageway that takes them to ballrooms where dancing and feasting takes place every single night. Here, they can dance until their shoes wear out, they can flirt and be carefree. Now, Anna Lee is beginning to think the latest death of her sister, Eulalie, was not an accident, and her younger sister is seeing the ghosts of all the sisters that have passed away. She fears that Eulalie is not going to be the last sister to die, and she's beginning to have horrible visions. Mm-hmm. Why are the sisters dying? What is causing these grotesque visions? Where does this secret passageway really lead to? Now, this book might sound a little familiar since it is loosely based on the Grimm's fairy tale, The 12 Dancing Princesses. I must say, Erin Craig does an amazing job of weaving goth, fairy tale, gods, gruesomeness, love, sorrow, pageantry, mystery, and fantasy all into one beautifully written novel. Uh-huh. I love the beautiful details that she describes in this book. It is...
Her descriptions are fantastic.
They're fantastic. And if you love fairy tales and balls, satin gowns, handsome strangers, mystery, and ghosts, this one is for you.
So good. I was just so impressed that we read it at the same time.
Yes.
That was bound to happen.
It was. It was bound to happen.
Bound to happen. My first book is Guts by Raina Telgemeier. Well, I know you read it and loved it. I'm going to review this one, and please jump in anytime.
Well, I do have a lot of books over here.
Yes, you have a lot to choose from.
And I love you.
I love you too.
Okay.
So here we go.
All right.
I'm learning to love graphic novels. Thank you, Nita, for your guidance. I really enjoy Raina Telgemeier. She writes autobiographically, which makes the story engaging and so relatable. In this book, Raina wakes up in the middle of the night with an upset stomach, and all seems to be fine the next day, and she and her mother chalk it up to a stomach bug that's been going around. Later, Raina has even more tummy troubles and needs to find the source of her discomfort. Is it changes at school? Changes in her body caused by hormonal changes due to puberty? Is it worrying about everything going on socially in middle school? Is it worrying about vomiting in front of people? What is it? Raina feels better when she sees a therapist and she's able to talk it out with her. She also talks with her friends and learns that everyone has worries and baggage that no one else knows about. It's a great book to let readers know that all people have worries and battles that are unseen. This was an advanced reader's copy or an ARC, and I would like to thank Yolanda Murray for sending these along to us. This book was released in September 2019, so it will be on shelves by the time this episode airs. In fact, it's already on shelves, and it will be at the Fall Scholastic Book Fair, I found out when I went to a workshop.
And I have students already clamoring for this book.
Yes. I had this on my desk at school, and they were like, can I have that copy? And I said, oh, no, honey, it's an uncorrected proof. You can't have this one.
It's Raina. I mean, everybody loves Raina. And can I just share, I just love a couple things in this book. Here's where her stomach is starting to bother her. And it says, thoughts can exist, feelings can exist, but words do not always exist. It is such a gorgeous book, and here she's having problems with a student that's making fun of her and how to deal with that. It is just...
And they do talk about irritable bowel syndrome and all that.
Yes.
All the troubles with that. So it really is a good book, so kids know that they're not the only ones out there feeling that way.
I'm so proud of you with the graphic
Thank
novel.
you. I'm loving Raina. I tell you, her books are really...
They're really good.
Good.
They're really good. All right, my next book is Carl and the Meaning of Life. It is by Deborah Freedman, and it is a picture book. Carl is an earthworm who spends his days burrowing, feasting, tunneling, casting, and turning hard dirt into fluffy soil. One day, a field mouse asks him, why does he do all those things? And Carl just doesn't know. So Carl sets off in search of the answer, and he asks several animals along the way, and here he is. Let me see. The pictures are just stunning. So he does ask several animals along the way. However, they don't know why Carl does what he does. They do know why they do what they do. So soon, with Carl being gone for so long in search for an answer, the soil was no longer fluffy and the ground became barren and dry. And Carl becomes across the saddest beetle that he has ever seen. The beetle can't find any grubs. So Carl then discovers that the dirt was hard like a rock, and he now knows what he needs to do. He went back to burrowing, feasting, tunneling, casting, and turning hard dirt into fluffy soil, which made the mouse's seeds grow, and the squirrel could plant new trees, and the fox came back for the hunt. I must say, I am enamored with this little contemplating worm. He just has the sweetest little face. I don't know if you guys can, he's just precious. And this book reminds us that how nature is all connected and that no matter how small, we all have important jobs to do. And then I just have to show you that discovering this book, I discovered this book, which is older, it's from 2013. It is The Story of Fish and Snail. Have you seen this?
I have not.
It is precious. So if you're in the market to add books to your collection, your home collection, your library, whatever, pick this one up too because it is cute. Cute, cute.
My next book is Other Words for Home by Jasmine Warga. It's a middle grade novel in verse. Jude, 12 years old, never thought she would have to leave her beloved Syria to seek refuge in Cincinnati. She and her mother left her older brother and father behind in Syria and moved in with her uncle's very wealthy family in the United States. She is not prepared for life in the United States. It's too fast and too loud compared to her seaside home. All the American movies like Pretty Woman or Miss Congeniality and songs like Whitney Houston's I Want to Dance with Somebody did not prepare her for a present day in her new life. She has difficulty making friends, and she does not feel comfortable with her cousin Sarah, who mostly ignores her. Things change when Jude befriends Layla, an American-born girl of Middle Eastern descent. Jude and Layla hang out in the Middle Eastern restaurant owned and operated by Layla's parents. Jude learns to speak more English and learns some American slang in her ESL classes. Jude tries out for the school play and is cast as Plumette, the duster in The Beauty and the Beast. She's happiest after her new sister is born, and she learns that her brother and father are safe. And she is indeed part of a loving family with homes in both Syria and the United States. This is a beautiful story of losing home and then finding home again, told eloquently in verse. It's a great book if you want to read it along with Amal Unbound by Aisha Saeed and, of course, Refugee by Alan Gratz. And since it is written in verse, it's just beautifully done and very short. You can see the text is, it's a fast read. I did kind of get all the feels. There is a little mascara alert in here. It is a little tearjerker, but such a beautiful book.
It's a beautiful cover, too.
This. Yes.
It is a beautiful cover. All right, my next book is, I love this book so much. The World Ends in April by Stacy McAnulty, or McAnulty. One of them. I'm still having problems with her name. It is appropriate for students in grades 4 through 7. It is a realistic fiction and it is pretty humorous. So The World Ends in April has Eleanor, aka Elle, having to perform drills for her grandfather, who is a prepper. You know what a prepper is?
I don't.
Okay, well, a prepper is someone who is preparing for a catastrophic disaster. They may have like an underground bunker or a year's supply of water, MREs, which are meal ready to eat, and a bug out bag, etc. She doesn't particularly like doing these surprise drills anymore, but she does them because she loves her grandfather. Now, Elle's father doesn't want anything to do with it and does not take well to his father encouraging the grandkids to become preppers. So Elle comes across a website from a Harvard professor that claims an asteroid is going to hit Earth in April. And it will be Teotwaki. I don't know if I'm saying that right, so Stacy, if you happen to see this, let me know. But that stands for the end of the world as we know it. Now, she knows she has to share this website and prepping knowledge with the people that she loves, Mac, who is her best friend, her grandfather, her father, and her brothers. Now, talking to her father about it is not easy since Elle's father is a widow and things have been tough, and he doesn't like any of this prepping business. And Mac, her best friend, encourages Elle to create an after-school club where she can share her unique knowledge on prepping for the Teotwaki. But it is disguised as a nature club. Don't think the school officials and parents will take too kindly on the end of the world club as we know it. So even London, a student who earlier threw a ball in Eleanor's face at the gym class, joins the club. London and Elle are wishing for this asteroid prediction to be true. They really don't want the world to end. But London is hoping it will bring her parents back together. And Elle doesn't want Mac to go to another school. I just love these characters. Elle doesn't fit in and is standoffish, while her best friend Mac is just the opposite. He doesn't let his blindness stand in his way. He is outgoing, he's encouraging, he's honest, and he's downright lovable. Her grandfather, although eccentric, is someone I wish I could just sit and talk to over a cup of coffee. McAnulty knows middle school and the students that enter their doors. I just love this book. It had me laughing. This one had the feels too. It is really, really funny. But now you might remember the name Stacy McAnulty, if I'm saying it correctly, for a few different reasons. She wrote some of the books that had been previously featured on here on Pages for All Ages, such as Moon, Earth's Best Friend, Sun, 1 in a Billion, and Earth, My First 4.54 Billion Years, and also a Bluebonnet book this year, which is The Miscalculations of Lightning Girl, all of which I have loved. You may also recall that I had the greatest problems pronouncing her name. I pretty much have butchered it every single time. Well, however you say her name, you can say she is a fantastic author, and I now call her one of my favorites. I have never been disappointed with her. I loved it. I would love to hear how she says her name.
Well, if you tweet her, maybe she'll tell you, because I read that book Spectacle by Jody Linsrock, and I asked her if I said it right, and she said it back to me, so I was close. What would she do? 25 True Stories of Trailblazing Rebel Women by Kay Woodward. From Cleopatra to Amelia Earhart, Emma Watson to Dame Zaha Mohammed Hadid, women have defied stereotypes and broken barriers to become leaders. In this book, there are 25 short biographies of amazing women that tells about their impact on society. So each woman is profiled in a short 1 to 2 page spread that is relatable to young women today. Included are famous quotes by each woman and what she would do in a different scenario that is relatable to social situations today. There is a timeline included and a short quiz for readers to take to see which woman they have more in common with. This was so interesting, and the artwork is beautiful, I think. And since it was different women doing different things, of course it was different authors writing about them. So the illustrations were done by 8 different female artists from different parts of the world. And here is Frida Kahlo, of course. And she, of course, is on the cover, which is what caught my eye. Ever since I read Frida and the Peacock Ring, I just can't get enough. I don't know if that's
And those gorgeous red lips.
borderline obsessive or not. But, it's very short. A lot of the kids at school were interested in reading this when they saw the cover and also saw how short each of the entries were. So it's a quick, quick information.
Quick profile in each one.
And then the other women are on the back. So, great
Beautiful
book.
cover.
Good nonfiction just to read for fun.
I forgot to mention that the back of The World Ends in April has a letter from Stacy. I'm not even going to try to say her last name. Talking about some of the asteroids that have hit Earth. Let me see what else. It has some definitions. And it even talks to asteroid facts, and there's also readiness kits and how to build your own kit, how to have your own bug out bag, and it was really interesting. I just love that book, but I wanted to make sure I mentioned that because I forgot. So my next book is 24 Hours in Nowhere by Dusti Bowling. I do not have the copy of the book with me because I did listen to it. It is a realistic fiction, an adventure. It is appropriate for students in grades 6 through 8. The setting of this story is nowhere. Nowhere, Arizona, where there's nothing to do, the people live in poverty, but kids still deal with the same issues as students in more populated places. Gus is 13 years old and is a punching bag for the town bully, Bo. And Rossi, she is the town's dirt bike racer winner, stands up to Bo while he's about to make Gus consume a cactus, and she loses her dirt bike to save Gus. Gus feels terrible that Rossi lost her bike to that bully Bo and knows she needs it for tomorrow's race. So Gus goes to Bo to beg the bike back, but makes a bad deal instead. Bo tells Gus Rossi can have her bike back if he goes to the closed mine and retrieves a piece of gold. Now, mind you, that this mine is known for collapsing and many people have not come out of that mine. While in the cave, he is joined by his friend Jesse, Rossi, and one of Bo's henchmen, Matthew. Adventures are had, misunderstandings are made right, friendships are made, mysteries are solved, and lessons are learned. Your past doesn't have to dictate where you will go or who you will become, and the power is up to you. Bullying, upstanding, bystanding, abandonment, misunderstandings between friends, building bonds, mountain lions, bats, guano slinging, javelinas, and a dirt bike race. This book has it. I love Rossi's heart, her quietness, her gentleness, and I love Gus's integrity to always do what is right. You will fall in love with these characters and you will laugh out loud. Hilarious.
That sounds really good.
It was really funny.
It
was really funny and touching all at the same time. Loved it.
This is The Key of Lost Things by Sean Easley. It's a middle grade novel. I waited for this to come out. This is the sequel to The Hotel Between. What a wonderful continuation of Cam's story. His home is now bound to the hotel, and he is a concierge in training as appointed by Mr. Agapios, who has left him in charge. There are 52 cats that have infiltrated the hotel, and we know it's 52 because each cat has a playing card attached. Yes, another of Nico's pranks. Or is it? Cass feels at home and independent in the hotel, often leaving her post at the front desk to work on robotics and engineering as well as solving problems behind the scenes. And they are upgrading her wheelchair. So who are the Hoppers? Who is B? Where is Nico? Where is Mr. Agapios? And what is this strange new place that Cam discovered? This book left me hanging and wanting more. So hurry and write some more, please, Sean. Nita and I had the privilege of meeting Sean at his book launch party at Interrobang Books in Dallas. Interrobang is a great indie bookstore. Sean is so interesting and he has such imaginative ideas for more stories based on the hotel, and I can't wait. And in the question and answer segment, people asked how many more books did he think there would be, and he said he knew for sure it would be a trilogy. But he was thinking maybe 9 books because he has so many different directions he can go with different characters. And B is a new character in the Hoppers that have been introduced in this book. So he could go into that, or he could go more into what Nico's doing. I mean, there's so many things to do.
Well, I remember him saying he really would like to tell Nico's story.
Yes, and I love Nico. He's one of my favorite.
But he said that might be more of a YA book, right?
Yes,
for Nico.
You know, he said as readers grow up, the books will grow up. So these are middle grade, so it will be kind of like the Harry Potter books did. They grew up as it went.
He was kind and generous with his time and really sharing. It was awesome to hear him speak. It was a pleasure to meet him.
And we got some great swag. We got a key.
We did get some good swag.
We got a key. He signed our books, and he signed our books really. He had stamps and stuff.
Yes.
So since we were at that launch party, he did a stamp that says first guest. Since we're librarians, we got the stamp that says doorkeeper because we're the doorkeeper of the books, and we'd be the doorkeeper of the hotel.
What a smart idea to have these different stamps.
And then a stamp that says the key of lost things, just so we know it's authentic. But he was really great, and he's moving to Arlington. So that'll be really neat.
We'll have to have him at a school.
Yes.
That'll be awesome. All right, my next book is A Stone Sat Still by Brendan Wenzel. He is a Caldecott winner for a picture book he did a couple years ago.
Can you hold one of them?
Yeah, you can hold this one. This is the one he won the Caldecott for. It is They All Saw a Cat. So that is a fantastic book. So if you know this book, you know this book is all about perspective and how we can all be looking at the same thing but view it differently. So A Stone Sat Still pairs beautifully with They All Saw a Cat. So here in this book, the stone is loud when a seagull is trying to crack open a clam or a mussel against it. But on the next page, the stone is a quiet place for a snake to curl up on. I love this next page. And here, it can seem rough or smooth depending who is on it. This book is beautifully done, and the illustrations are just magnificent. I can just pore over them again and again and again. And anytime I see a Brendan Wenzel book, I pick it up immediately. I just adore his illustrations and his book. But another fantastic book to discuss perspective. You know, we talk about that with students in class and maybe just in everyday life when we're like misunderstandings happen and we can talk about perspective. These books do a lovely and fantastic job, and I just love him. He's quickly becoming like one of my favorite
And I love They All
illustrators.
Saw a Cat. That is so great to share with kids and, you know, do a read aloud and
Yeah, you
show
know,
the pictures. It's so great.
I can show it really quickly. I just love how here, you know, the child sees the cat, and then notice how the dog sees the cat. And there's a picture here of like the mouse, or how the fish sees the cat, and then there's a picture of a mouse seeing the cat. Oh, there it is, as this horrible thing. So just about perspective, and it's just another beautifully done book by Brendan Wenzel.
Love it.
Love it.
My next book is Guest by Mary Downing Hahn. I almost feel like I need to go. It's a middle grade novel. Molly Cloverall knew better than to praise the intelligence, beauty, or the sweetness of her baby brother, Thomas. If the kind folk overheard her, they would bring one of their ugly, mean, sickly babies to trade for their beautiful baby. Most of the people would complain about their beautiful babies, so the kind people, who were anything but kind, would leave those babies in the village alone. One day, Molly just couldn't help herself when she was out in the garden working. She loved her baby so much, and she was babysitting Thomas. And she praised Thomas and his sweet nature and his beautiful curls. At the time, she had also taken Thomas's necklace that Granny Hedgepeth had given the Cloveralls for protection. She only wanted to wear it for a minute. And after she put on the necklace and secretly decided that she would keep it, she became dizzy and passed out. When she came to, a changeling was in her brother's place. This new, terrible, ugly, crying, screaming, demanding baby began to drain the life out of man, and Dado left the family because of all the stress. Molly decides to leave to find the mean sprites, to retrieve her brother, and to make everything right with her family once again. The journey takes her into the dark lands that can change and shift at the will of the kind folk. Will she ever find her way out of the darkness? And will she find her brother? And will she return home? This story is based on an Irish folk tale titled Tamlin, where a young woman rescues a young man from the queen of the Cid, or the kind folk, who were called kind in the hopes that they would truly be kind. Mary Downing Hahn wrote this after that she had traveled to Ireland. It is a creepy book, which Mary Downing Hahn does so well. She does a wonderful job of describing the setting and the characters that I actually felt like at one time I was lost in the dark lands and listening to see if anyone was sneaking up on me. I had those delicious, scary chill bumps, and I could almost hear somebody, whispering in the trees. It was like, oh my gosh, but so good. And even the cover, I mean, how scary is that?
I love a good scary book.
But so good.
She's
so,
amazing for anything.
She really is great.
Yeah.
I mean, the girl in the locked room.
Yes.
Excellent.
If your kids are looking for scary books, pick anything up by Mary
And wait
Downing
till
Hahn.
Helen comes.
Oh, yeah. That's a great one.
I'm telling you.
Yeah.
So, lovely, deliciously scary.
Oh, this next one is not scary, but this one is another one that I just love this and treasure it. I just love it. It's called Genesis Begins Again. It is written by Alicia D. Williams. I hope I'm pronouncing Alicia correctly. It is a realistic fiction middle grade book for students in grades 5 through 8. The book opens with Genesis excited to be bringing some friends to her house. But it quickly ends in profound embarrassment and disappointment when she discovers that all of their belongings have been put out on the lawn. Her family has been evicted yet again. Her newfound friends begin to ridicule her, and it's just another thing to add to her list of things that she hates about herself. She already has 96 reasons. Genesis is eventually enrolled in a new school and learns to find her voice with the help of her choir teacher. She is introduced to Billie Holiday and Etta James. She loves their voices and so much that she learns more about them by going to the school library and learns about the hard lives that they endured and led. She also has some new friends that accept her just the way she is. Now, her father is battling some demons of his own. He is an alcoholic and prefers to gamble away the rent money. Genesis' father can also be verbally abusive when he is drinking. Now, one of the things about Genesis is that she's very dark-skinned, and she tries many remedies to try and lighten her skin in the hopes of pleasing her father. She tries mild remedies and some that are painful and causes scabbing. Her father just keeps telling her that she was supposed to come out looking like her mother, light-skinned. And also in the story, you find out that her grandmothers, they would use a paper bag to determine whether their kids, which would be her grandmother, on who they were dating, they needed to be lighter than the paper bag. So there's just a whole lot of issues here with skin color. But man, this book was profound. What an eye-opening book, tearjerker. It is lovely. It is powerful. It is beautifully, beautifully done.
I think it's
Love it.
wonderful that she found a solace in music and in the library, because
Yes.
I can tell you that when I have something going on, that's what I do. Find solace in music or a book.
And
It
she
just seems to
found
help.
people to relate to because they endured difficult lives, and so it was just beautifully
That's
done.
wonderful.
Just another
I
great
think you
book.
can always find something in a book that you can relate to.
Yes, love
and
it.
in music as well.
Beautifully written. I couldn't put it down.
This is a book that I just happened to see, and I thought, oh my goodness, I have to have it. Eee-Moo. Look how sweet that cover is. Eee-Moo by Annika Dunkley and Brian Wan. One day, a platypus egg was found, and a delivery dog decided to take the egg to the zoo. But there was an accident on his bike, and the egg fell out of his basket and rolled down the hill to a farm. Well, that caused the egg to hatch, and when the platypus popped out, the pig squealed, "Ee!" and the cow bellowed, "Moo!" So the platypus announced, "Eee-Moo!" "He's an emu, of course," declared the horse, and the owl was concerned that he was so far from home. So they made a plan to return this emu to Australia with the help of all their other friends. Of course, they had to have a map, and as you can see, the map looks like this, and the farm is here, and there's lots of water, and then there's Australia, the home of Eee-Moo.
It says lots of water.
Lots of water. It doesn't say it's an ocean or name it. It's just lots of water. So with the help of his friends, he took a bus and a train and a ferry and a moped and a rickshaw and finally an airplane to reach Australia. And when he arrives in Australia, he's greeted by a horse who understood that he wants to visit the emus, so the horse enlisted the aid of a kookaburra that was flying by. So the kookaburra found that Emu, the platypus, was too busy, so the kookaburra dropped him right into the emu farm below. I mean, it just happened to be there.
Of course.
So Emu began to notice that he looked nothing like the emus, and he began to cry. So a koala noticed him and said he could help him out and he took Emu to the platypus couple who had been looking for their egg all day at the shore. So after Emu settled in and realized he was missing his friends, he invited them all to come to Australia to visit him. These are really sweet illustrations with very muted tones. Emu has just got to be the cutest thing. Here he is at the bus stop. And he's going to Australia, but it says Australia. Ow, O-U. I mean O-W. Australia. And it's just really, really sweet. Here he is when he realizes he has nothing in common with the other emus. He doesn't look like them at all. I thought this would be a fun book to talk about modes of transportation, using maps, helping those in need. And the fact that platypuses, while they are mammals, they actually do hatch from eggs. So they're called monotremes, I think is what it is. So there you go.
Find the
It
funniest
was a
books
fun
that have me
book.
cracking off camera. You do it every
Look at
single
his
time.
sweet
He's
face.
so sweet. I was thinking it was from the author of Sweetie Pie because I don't know, the cover
It
kind
looks
of
a
reminded
lot like
me.
Sweetie Pie. In fact, that's what caught my eye, is that it's almost the same style.
Yeah, so I don't know if it was the same. It's not the same
It's
illustrator
not.
though. Okay.
No. Cute book, Emu.
All right, so the next book, I don't have it in front of me because it was also an audiobook that I listened to. This one is This Heart of Mine. It is written by Cece Hunter. It is a young adult book. In this book, Leah Mackenzie is a homeschooled senior who is on the heart transplant list. She has an artificial heart since hers died a few years ago from a virus. She has a pretty rare blood type, so she has accepted the fact that she will probably never find a match and will die soon. And out of nowhere, she gets the call. A heart is ready for her, and she soon learns the heart is from her crush's, Matt, twin brother, Eric, who died from a gunshot wound to the head. It was suicide. And soon after the transplant, Leah begins to have dreams of running through the woods. These dreams are frequent, and a little more detail is added each time. Now Matt, her crush, refuses to believe that his brother committed suicide. They are twins. He knows his brother. When Leah and Matt realize they are both having the same dream, they are determined to find out what really happened to Eric. It is love, mystery, suspense, communicating with the dead. This book has it. I love this book, and I'm declaring now that it should be made into a movie. Boom. make it happen. Loved it. Couldn't stop listening to it. It was so good.
Wow, what a thriller.
So good.
We've got the whole world in our hands, illustrated by Rafael Lopez. This traditional song is wonderfully illustrated by brilliant colors by Rafael Lopez. In the illustrations, a young girl begins with a multicolor ball of yarn, and this yarn intertwines throughout the verses and illustrations of the song. You can see the yarn weave in and out of the story. The music for the song is included in the back, along with the history of the song. The artist inspiration, I would like to read directly from the back, if I could. It's very short. Rafael Lopez loves color because it speaks all languages. He uses an array of hues that come in large recycled salsa jars from Mexico, along with mixed media. Using his collection of tools and twigs, he scratches texture on the illustrated surface of wooden boards and watercolor paper. With his favorite pair of scissors, he cuts shapes out of Bristol paper and then plays with pen and ink, watercolor, and Adobe Photoshop to conjure the personalities of clouds and characters. And it's a great book to pair with Dreamers and All Are Welcome. It would be a great book for the beginning of the year, or a book to talk about diversity, or hey, just a feel-good read, or even a little sing-along.
Yeah,
The whole world.
book.
It is. And it's an older book. I think it came out in 2015, but it is just gorgeous.
My next few books, I'm not really going to review, just kind of let you know that they're out there. So there was a book a few years ago that won, it was a Newbery honor book. It was The War That Saved My Life. Well, there's a follow-up book. It is The War I Finally Won by Kimberley Brubaker. Kimberley Brubaker Bradley. So if you've read The War That Saved My Life, that was a Newbery honor. That was fantastic. Follow-up book right here. Nick Selleck, I hope I'm pronouncing the name correctly. I reviewed this book of his, what is it called? The Sun is Kind of a Big Deal, that I just loved. He has a new one out that is just as fantastic. It is called The Brain is Kind of Big Deal. I love this fiction paired with nonfiction. This is like a really big new trend. I mean, maybe it's not, but I feel like I'm just seeing it more and more and more. And so I was at Barnes & Noble, of course, where else would I be? And I saw How I Met My Monster, and this is a series. So years ago, this book came out called I Need My Monster, which is fantastic. How a little boy can't go to sleep because his monster under the bed is on vacation. And so he's trying to get all these other monsters. I just loved it. And then, was it last year, or maybe 2 years ago, this book came out. Hey, that's my monster, and the little boy's sister now wants this monster, and he doesn't want to share. And then there's this one. It's all the background story on how he got his monster. So I was just thrilled to the gills to see that this book was out. Just such a fun series. And then, I think when you guys see this, it'll be too late, but you know, it's still good to have in your collection. The Snowman series has a new one out. It's called Snowmen at Halloween. It is by Carolyn Buhner. I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. But if you guys know the Snowman series, there's Snowmen at Work, Snowmen at Christmas. Is it Snowman in the Summer? Or there's just a whole bunch of them that are just fantastic. And this is just another fantastic one to add to your series collection. I also reviewed a scary book. I believe it was last year I did it on the show, by Catherine Arden. It's called Small Spaces. She has a new one out. It's called Dead Voices. Same characters in this one. I started it, haven't finished it. And then I reviewed the book, what is it? People don't bite people. But sometimes they do. Didn't you have some?
But sometimes they do, is what my kids say.
By Lisa Wheeler, and it's illustrated by the lovely Molly Idle. When she has a new one called People Share with People. So I just want to let you guys know that these are follow-ups or part of a series, or
It's the same little kids.
yes, well, it's Molly Wheeler. I mean, not Molly Wheeler. Molly Idle. She's so fantastic. She has probably drawn the most beautiful mermaid I have ever seen in that book, Pearl, the Little Mermaid. I just love her illustrations. But anyways, so just to let you know, continuing series, follow-up books, just to know that they're out there. Since you guys made me dwindle down my collection.
but you talked about a lot, and it's great. Lots of books, lots of fun.
And there's still a lot more for next time.
We'll see you next time.
Bye, guys.